that we're going to learn excerpts from Rosh Chdesh Adar, Rosh Chdesh Adar Sheni. It was on a Tuesday, Parshas Pikudei of Tafshin Memtes 1989 after Mincha. We're going to skip around and learn some excerpts of the Sicha. We're going to go to Ois Beis, second column. The Rosh Chdesh Adar Sheni, standing at the Rosh Chdesh of the second Adar, which the Rebbe says is a ikri of the 2 months of Adar. The second Adar is the primary one. It's the main one. It's the one that we celebrate Purim in, etc. It's an appropriate time to inspire people to mention again about matters of the month of Adar. First and foremost, Inyan Simcha, the idea of joy. When we enter Adar, we increase in joy. Like the expression of the pasuk in Megillus Esther, the month that was transformed for them into joy. So the Rebbe says in the parentheses, al Adar Sheni. This pasuk that says that the month was transformed into joy is going primarily on the second Adar. How come? Because in the second Adar is the month Shabbai Karen HaMegillah that we read the Megillah in it. So it's understood that the prime idea of increasing in joy is in the second Adar. Hainu, this means that the entire month was transformed from one extreme to another extreme to joy. Until the ultimate joy of Purim that's beyond any measure and boundary. Like the Chazal say that a person needs to be so spiced on Purim until he does not know, he cannot differentiate between Haman and Mordechai, which means not differentiating and not knowing means he reaches such a place beyond intellect, beyond knowledge, which is completely unlimited. The Rebbe says, all this begins immediately at the first day of the month of Adar Sheni, Rosh Chdesh. It's called the head of the month. The dugmas are Rosh, similar to a head. That the head includes the life force and power and the energy for all the limbs and organs of the body. The same thing, Rosh Chdesh is called the Rosh Chdesh, the head of the month. Even Shekailol Kol Yemei HaChodesh, since it includes all the days of the month. Kailol B'miyuchad Purim Gadol V'Shushim Purim Gadol, including and specifically the large Purim and the Shushan of the large Purim, meaning as opposed to what we had in the first Adar, we had what's called Purim Katan, the minor Purim. Now we have Purim Gadol. Then another thing that the Rebbe says, last paragraph on the page. Another very important thing about the second month of Adar, additional and primarily Mismach Geula L'Geula. Now, one redemption is close to the other redemption. This is what the Gemara says. The reason why do we celebrate Purim in the second Adar, not in the first Adar, because we want to put one redemption, the redemption of Purim, in close proximity to the next redemption of Pesach. The Shaykh Adar Sheni Dafka, that's applicable specifically in the second Adar, this statement that Mismach Geula L'Geula. Shariatam Shekarna Megillah Ba'adar Asamach L'Nis Adar Sheni. The reason why we read the Megillah in the Adar, that is next to Nis, which is the second Adar, B'loi Ba'adar Asamach L'Shvat, not the Adar that is close to the month of Shvat, which is Adar Rishon. The first to the Adar, because we want to bring close one redemption to another redemption, being Purim, we want to place next to Pesach, Adif is better. To make one gula next to another gula is better. Then he goes on and says, Zen Nichlal Gam. This is also included, Shemeha Geula de Purim, Mismach Uboim Legula Mitzvah Shlema, from the redemption of Purim, we become close, and we come not just to the redemption of Pesach, but to the true and complete redemption. Like your days going out of the land of Mitzrayim, I will show you wonders. Then the Rebbe adds, additional to this, we can add and to make note. the general idea of a leap year. Yes, Adar Rishon, Adar Sheni, that includes in it the first Adar and the second Adar, Shayich, Legula, Amitis Vashlema. It's connected with the true and complete redemption. Because making the lunar year catch up and equal to the solar year. How do we make sure the lunar year, which is how we count our months, catch up to the solar year by which we establish our Yom Tovim? So how does that occur? The reason why we add an extra Adar is because the lunar year is 11 days shorter than the solar year, and if you're going to just keep on going the Yom Tovim by the lunar year without going the solar year, so Pesach is not going to fall out in the spring when it's supposed to fall out, etc. So therefore, we add every few years we add a month, which has like about 30 days. So you add it once every 3 or so years, and then you catch up those 11 days that were missing over 3 years, and you manage to have the lunar year catch up to the solar year. So this idea of bringing the lunar and solar year, they should be aligned, that's similar, and recalls the promise that's what will be fulfilled in the true and complete redemption. When Mashiach comes, it says that the light of the moon will be like the light of the sun. So this equating and reconciling the lunar with the solar harkens and is a good omen for that future time when the solar and the lunar light will be on, or the lunar light will be on the light level of the solar light. Then he says another thing, the Inyan Ikriya Shayach Yuchad L'Rosh Chodesh Adar, and another primary thing that's connected specifically to the first of the month of Adar, and again, the first of the month of Adar Sheni, that the Chachamim Institute Echad Ba'Adar Mashmim Al Ashkol. The times of the Beis Hamikdash, they announced on the first of Adar, they would proclaim and announce that people should get ready their half shekels to be able to bring those donations, send those donations to the Beis Hamikdash. So the question is, why did they do it on the first of Adar? The reason why on the first of Adar was when they announced and let people know to get ready their half shekels, so that the Jewish people should bring their shekels in their appropriate time. And the donation for the chamber that was used for the korbanos that were brought in the Beis Hamikdash should be able to be taken from the new funds in its time on the first of Nisan. This means they should have sufficient time to prepare and to give a half a shekel for the communal offerings in the Beis Hamikdash of the new year, that it begins on the first of Nisan. So because on the Rosh Chodesh Nisan, on the first day of Nisan, they would not use the old donations from the previous year. They would use the new donations. So we had to make sure that all the half shekels of the new donations were collected in time. So on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, they should have it already ready. So now he goes on. Let's skip over to the next paragraph on the top of the page. On the second column, this means to say, one second, not the top of the page. The top of the page. This means to say, in addition to the fact that the Rosh Chodesh in general is an idea of something that is new and is something that's brought, or it's a renewal. That's why, because the renewal of the new moon, so that's why it's called Chodesh. There's a special quality and advantage in the Rosh Chodesh Nisan. It's considered the first for you of the months of the year, that there's something extra new on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. What's extra new on the first of Nisan? That in that first of the month becomes something new for the entire year, which is Truma Chadasha, the new donation, the new monies, the new half shekels, that from those new half shekels, they would offer the communal offerings throughout the entire year. In Zem, this begins already on the first of Adar. That on the first of Adar was when they announced, Bezin would announce and proclaim and make sure about the Shkolim. Everyone should be able to prepare his half a shekel. Let's skip down to Ois Dalet. So what about these days? These days we don't actually bring a half a shekel to the base of Migdosh because we don't have actual karbonis. Still in all, it says on the bottom of the page, Ois Dalet. In a similar way, these days. Shein Beis Hamikdash Kaim, that the Beis Hamikdash is not standing. Is concerning the spiritual service of the Beis Hamikdash that begins with the time of the beginning of Adar. Inyan carbon. What is the idea behind the carbon? Carbon is from the word closeness. Adam kiyakr mikem carbon lavshem, a person that will offer from you a carbon tashem sha Adam miskarav lakadosh baruch hu. That the person is the one that becomes close to Hashem. That's why it says Adam mikem kiyakr. The person is becoming close. Carbon maloshem kiru. Carbon is from the word closeness. Skip the parentheses. Kimavur, Barucha, Bedrushin, like it's explained at length in the Mamorim that speak about the Karbonis. That's Lias Chidush. Bechol Shana V'Shana. In this closeness that a Yid experiences through the Karbonis, or the idea of the closeness that a person is supposed to experience in general, even now when we don't have a Beis Hamikdash, Lias Chidush, Bechol Shana V'Shana, there has to be a renewal every single year. Shekel through the half a shekel, that he awakens the bond and the oneness of his neshama with Hashem. That every one of them is a half a shekel. Hashem and the Jewish people are each a half a shekel. The Inyan Zem Maskal Kwabresh Chodesh Adar, and this connection and bond and closeness of the Karbonis is expressed already in Rosh Chodesh Adar, Shaboy Mashmim al Ashkolim Hachadoshim, that's when they proclaim and they announce about the new Shkol. Let's skip over to the next column. So here is where it also connects with Simcha and Bitochon. So the Rebbe says, we know that a carbon is a give and take. We become close to Hashem, but it also draws down Hashem's brach. Just like the matter is concerning the person's service in the idea of the carbon, that this applies now as well. Carbon. So too it's concerning the drawing down of the blessings, the brachas of Hashem through the carbon. How do those blessings come down? Through the pleasing aspect of the carbon that occurs above, like it says about the carbon. Hashem says this was pleasing before me, that I said and my will was fulfilled. So that evokes by Hashem and draws down by Hashem all the blessings to the Yid. All the blessings and all that's drawn down, and all the flow of godly energy and material things. Whether in spiritual matters that we get all the brachas from Hashem, or also in material things. they occur through the avoid of karbonis in the spiritual, because now we don't have the physical karbonis. So therefore, we're drawing down all these brachas through our spiritual karbonis, and that is done an entire year. Hachal Rosh Chodesh Nisan, beginning from the first of Nisan. But they begin already, and Klulin Rosh Chodesh Adar, they're already contained and included in the first of Adar, Shaboy Mashmiim Malach Shkolim, because then we already announce and proclaim about the preparing the shekel for a new karbonis and so on. So now the Rebbe is going to give us guidance about how and what we're supposed to do when it comes to getting brachas from Hashem in the practical, down to earth. And the Rebbe is going to talk practically about those that ask questions by the Rebbe and that send letters to the Rebbe to find the answers. So the Rebbe is going to direct us what and how a person has to do. So he says in Oishei, Ubahemshach La'amur, in continuation of what we said before, Shekol HaBrachas V'Hamshach V'Hashpos, Klulin Kvav Rosh Chodesh Adar, all these brachas and Hamshachas and these Hashpos are already included in the first of Adar. So Yesh LaHasker Gamal Dvar HaPidyonis Bakashas Brachas, we should also mention about the Pidyonis, which means those letters that Chassidim write to the Rebbe, and Bakashas Brachas, and the requests for blessings, etc. That many people sent, the Rebbe said, they sent it to me, in other words, so I should mention them, their name, at the oil of my father-in-law, at the resting place of my father-in-law. So the Rebbe says as follows: This was already in 1989. This wasn't before the stroke. This was 3 years before the stroke. The Rebbe said one does not have to verify and certify that I got your letter. Since there's a general verification and certification, and this is explicit in the Torah, that Hashem, that not explicit. I'm saying this explicitly, so I don't have to now tell every single person, yes, I'm in receipt of your letter, and like the Rebbe usually would say, I'm in receipt of your letter, and I will mention you at their holy resting place. My father-in-law, so the Rebbe says, I am now giving a blanket receipt of letters, and the Rebbe says, in footnote 40, and this certification is not just letters that were sent, but letters that didn't get reach me, and even letters that will be sent. I'm already verifying, and I'm already telling you. And in addition, and that's primary, that Hashem says, before they call out, and I will already respond. Surely Hashem will respond. He will fulfill all the requests from his full and open and holy and broad hand. And more specifically, that Hashem fulfills all the requests and all that's necessary. Whether it's spiritual needs of the neshama, an unbelievable, over-the-top success in all matters of serving of Hashem, with Torah and Torah study, avodah, which is davening, tefillah, doing acts of kindness, and also that Hashem fulfills all the requests in everything you need, in our material needs. Needs of the body, children, life and health, sustenance, revicha in a comfortable way. Sometimes the revicha can be connected to the mezoina, to the sustenance, but the Rebbe says in all of them it's comfortable. Children, life and health, and so on. A visible and revealed good below 10 handbreadths, meaning there's something that is tangible that we see in our world. And so too, and even more so, specifically, that we know that the following is likened to the splitting of the sea. concerning matters of marriage, that one should find a partner in life. Binyan adi adar, to be an everlasting edifice. Mitzvahs, on the foundation of Torah mitzvahs, Hashem helps and fulfills the requests of shidduchim. Bonim abonis, oiskim with Torah mitzvahs. We should have sons and daughters involved in Torah mitzvahs. With bias molekol tuv in a home filled with all goodness. Like we said before, bon chayim of the children, life, sustenance, and all in a comfortable way. All of this. Even when we find ourselves in the final moments of exile. Though exile is the opposite of it's the idea of constraints, the opposite of comfort and broadness. So how does this fit together? We're in Golus, and in Golus you want to have a state of revicha, of comfort, when Golus is about Meitzar. It's the opposite of comfort. Since every Jew is a prince, he's considered the only child of the King of Kings Hashem. Moving, it's understood, wherever he's found, he's considered being at his father's table, and because he's at his father's table, therefore he is already eating and getting from the best of the best. Let's skip over to after the brackets on the second column, over there where there's a little 52. Therefore Hashem must give, and surely he gives in actuality everything that's necessary for Yid, as it's appropriate for a son and daughter of a king, of a royal prince and princess. In addition to what we said before about matters of requesting a bracha, there's also a general response concerning questions in different matters. There's a clear response in Torah how one is supposed to deal with different types of questions that they would write to the Rebbe about. So the Rebbe says, when a person acts according to the response that's already in the Torah, so then surely comes down in it the bracha of Hashem. So the Rebbe says, this, by following this directives, and therefore, like the Rebbe didn't say this here explicitly, in later times he said it, but now he didn't say this explicitly, that we have different ways to ask or to figure out answers to questions, and again, parenthetically, without need to write to the Rebbe. First of all, concerning questions in the matter of service of Hashem, there's a clear directive in the Torah: make for yourself a teacher. And Hashem helps the person fulfill the words of his teacher in the most successful manner, until he becomes a student that makes his teacher wise. As it says, that from my students I received the most. So that's what the person is supposed to do when it comes to questions of matters of service to Hashem. When it comes to questions concerning making a living, there is a clear directive in the Torah that says in Mishlei that salvation comes with much advice. So again, he's saying that seek out appropriate advisors. Hashem assists him. That he brings the causes about, and he gives the advisor the appropriate advice to give. In other words, I could think to myself, this advisor is not a Rebbe, he's not a tzaddik. Why should I rely on what this advisor says? So we say, no, Hashem will help and will give into the mind and mouth of this advisor the appropriate advice. Especially when it's with much advisors. So in other words, he seeks out advice from multiple advisors. Then he has the power and the merit of the many. That all of those that he seeks advice from, or at least the majority of them, will point out to the appropriate advice. That through that advice that his advisors give him, he will come to salvation of Hashem. And in a similar vein, the Rebbe says, when it comes to questions concerning matters of health and healing and medicine, there's a clear directive in the Torah. A person has to follow the directives of a doctor. It says in Parsha Mishpatim, it says, and the doctor will heal. So from this, the Chazal derives shenitna reshus from the sinas koyach l'roife l'rapis. From this, we know that the doctor has permission to heal, and permission doesn't just mean that he's allowed to, but the Rebbe inserts in the parentheses, he also is empowered to heal. And Hashem assists him that he should be completely healed. You say to him as an even more so, any illness that was in Mitzrayim, I will not place on you initially, even because I, Hashem, am your healer. Let's skip over to Zion. Yesh Lohaisif. We can add Shekeinu b'Mikolshkein b'Kal v'Chomer b'Negiel l'Shlilus Choyli b'Inyanim Beruchnim. So too, it's how much more so concerning negation of illness and spiritual matters in Yoni Torah Mitzvahs Avodas Hashem, matters of Torah Mitzvahs in the service of Hashem. If a person is following the doctors, then Hashem will prevent him from having any spiritual illness whatsoever. Let's skip over. Let's skip over to the last page over here. Oops. Ois ches. V'yiratzen should be the will of Hashem. Sheberigi golos hachroinim, the final moments of exile. Tumshach berchosek HaKadosh Baruch Hu miyodem le'apsuch HaKadosh Baruch Hu should come down the brach of Hashem from His full, open, holy, and broad hand. Every single Jew in everything that's necessary for him. A great and unbelievable success in all of his matters, both spiritually and physically together, out of joy and gladness of heart, in a way that he increases in joy. Simcha a very great joy. Ad lo yada, until he doesn't know the difference, like we said, he's beyond boundaries. Simcha peretzes together, and as we know, joy breaks through boundaries. How much more so a joy that's beyond boundaries, ad lo yada, that is beyond knowledge. It nullifies all gates, medidas, vagbolas, measures, and boundaries. And first and foremost, it breaks through the boundaries of exile. Immediately comes the true and complete redemption. That from one redemption we come to the next redemption. Even before the redemption of Pesach. God, even before the redemption of the great Purim. Adar Sheni, immediately at the first of the month of Adar Sheni, but Chilosai, and at its beginning, the first day of Rosh Chodesh Adar, already we reached the month that was transformed to joy. All the negative things become transformed. Also including transforming and turning over matters of the opposite of merits to merits, till total merits, through the avoid of tshuva. That the Torah promised that the Yidden will eventually do a tshuva at the end of their exile, which the end of the exile, the Rebbe says in the parentheses, that's their Deinuzeh. This is our generation at the end of the exile. And immediately once they do tshuva, they're immediately redeemed. Take it from miyad mamish mamish, immediately, mamish mamish. Especially when we conclude, as it is customary in accepting the money to be a messenger for tzedakah by suffering a delay and by each one adding to whatever they're going to get from the Rebbe on their own. The doyle tzedakah from karev sagula, because tzedakah is great, that brings the gula closer. Pashtus, and simply put, should take from Yad Mamish that immediately we Rosh Chodesh Adar Sheni Shnas Tashmi Gadecha on the first day of Rosh Chodesh Adar Sheni of the year Tafshim Mem Tes, that Rebbe connected with the word with the pasuk Tashmi Gadecha. Simcha v'rikud. We arrive out of joy and dancing Yachid Mashiach Tzedkeinu Latzoyin Agdosha together with Mashiach Tzedkeinu to our holy land, Yerushalayim Kodesh, Yerushalayim the holy city. Over base Hamikdash Shlishi into the third base of Mikdash, like it says at the beginning of the parsha of the week. Eilib Kudei HaMishkan, Mishkan. These are the numbers and accounts of the Mishkan. That says Mishkan HaEdus. Why does it say Mishkan twice? The Chazal say Shnei Pam. It says Mishkan twice. Remez LeMikdash Nismashkim Mishnei Churbanim. It's a hint for the Mishkan that was taken as Mikdash that was taken as collateral in the two destructions. What is the idea of collateral? Collateral is not kept by the lender. Collateral means that after you pay back the loan, you receive the collateral back. By a Sicha, by a Sheni, you because the first and second base of Mikdash will be part of the third base of Mikdash. So that means we will have been returned the first and second base of Mikdash as well. Mikdash Adna Kanya Yadacha, the third base of Mikdash, which is the Mikdash of Hashem, that your own hands prepared with Sham Gufan over there itself. We will go up to the Holy of Holies, take from Yad Mamish immediately.